Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now August 17th of 2023, and there's a lot of things going on right now behind the scenes over at Disney, not just because of everything happening with Star Wars and the current Lucasfilm purge that's actually an ongoing thing, but also everything ranging from the Marvel lockdown as well, that's really causing a lot of projects to go on a deep pause, development-wise, and what Bob Iger and the board are currently doing with the cost containment plan that is wreaking havoc, not just on Marvel, but also on Star Wars and just Disney in general, such as their live-action remakes from the animated material. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. And let's get right into the subject, shall we? Now, we know that The Marvels is still slated for November of this year, and Disney's really trying to decide on whether or not they want to delay this thing. They know the ramifications of delaying that is that it's going to create a domino effect on other titles. It's going to delay other movies that are in either the Marvel roster or just Disney in general. So everything, is like a butterfly effect. Once you delay one project, it kind of topples the others. Now, what's interesting about this has a lot to do with BRIE LARSON. We're going to be going over a specific development that's been happening behind closed doors and how it involves BRIE LARSON getting a big cancellation in the MCU about something very significant. And this is all related to Bob Iger. This is all related to the Marvel fan feedback as well. Let's get into this. Now, interestingly enough, we know that BRIE LARSON is right up there with the big three insufferable actresses, Rachel Zegler, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and BRIE LARSON. And you know what? If we want to, let's bring it up to 4. Let's add Amber Heard to the list as well. But with BRIE LARSON dealing with many of the ongoing issues related to the Marvels and other Marvel projects that are facing multiple issues due to Bob Iger's mishandling. However, one big development has much to do with BRIE LARSON and what Disney recently did with her as an actress for a specific project that was supposed to be crucial to her career in the MCU. Now, Bob Iger and the higher-ups at Disney were planning on announcing a third Captain Marvel film, or technically a sequel to The Marvels, that was going to give Brie a chance at handling another MCU film completely focused on herself, instead of an ensemble cast. Now, this Captain Marvel sequel, or the Marvel sequel, whatever you want to call it, was planned to be announced at D23, and though not just due to Bob Iger's cost containment plan, but also related to BRIE LARSON becoming all the more unlikable in her recent interviews in the past for the Marvels, Disney decided to cancel what was described to be Larson's biggest MCU project ever, where Brie reportedly didn't take this well at all, and even got into heavy arguments with her agent and manager about Disney's higher-ups and their decision to not only cancel the announcement for a direct sequel to Captain Marvel, but also multiple cameos for Captain Marvel in the Disney Plus TV shows. Now guys, let me just stop here before I get to the next major part of this development, is that, look, BRIE LARSON, like I've said before in the past, I think that she had this coming. She has caused so much trouble behind the scenes for the Avengers cast, to the point where even some of the cast members of the Avengers kind of nodded toward hinting all of this, and she really set them back quite a number of takes, a number of scenes that were supposed to be finished on schedule that never were, and so that's why she not only had a similar experience with Fast X, and why a lot of fans didn't really like her in that movie as well, she was actually supposed to be getting a bigger role than usual for Fast and Furious 11 and 12, and Universal, surprisingly now, wants to drop her from those two films. As far as I'm concerned, guys, the Fast and Furious franchise is just so oversaturated, it should have stopped at like 7. But I digress. Focusing on the issue here, this is where things get even all the more serious and more involved with Disney, because we know that Bob Iger is really trying to save the company. We know that he's trying to really kind of just spend less and basically make less. That's all what his cost containment plan is about at the end of the day. and it's impacting Marvel, it's impacting Star Wars, to the point where James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi movie is facing a cancellation and himself getting fired entirely from being associated with any Star Wars project because of his mishandling as well with Indiana Jones 5 and allowing Phoebe Waller-Bridge's ideas to spill into that movie. So he is partially to blame as well. But let's not get off track here too much. Further, alright, there were even developments for BRIE LARSON to make big cameos in a planned Mrs. Marvel Season 2 for Disney Plus that have now fallen completely apart. Now, this decision was based on a combination of things, such as her unlikable nature for Marvel fans, and the cost containment plan by Bob Iger to reduce spending. Larson knew that the sequel to Captain Marvel was going to be the backbone of her career, along with the cameos, and now is willing to walk away from appearing in any future Avengers film, which are the last of her appearances set, to set an ultimatum about her stance on the situation created by Disney. Kevin Feige, surprisingly, was also forced to make this call per Bob Iger, where her ultimatum is reportedly not making any changes for Disney and their decision that was made final just recently. So here's the problem that I think a lot of Marvel fans are going to have with this, is the fact that this is, of course, going to create more delays for other films out there that could very well be very well made. You know, we know that the MCU has been suffering a little bit. The phases have been going a little bit downhill since, I guess you could say, the end of Endgame. They've been facing a number of box office failures, a number of negative fan feedback on some films and TV shows, to the point where Kevin Feige really needs to rethink his strategy, along with the Disney higher-ups. They need to rethink their strategy on the business end of the spectrum and on the creative end as well. So we know that BRIE LARSON getting cancelled out of a Captain Marvel sequel is brilliant and all, but this ongoing drama doesn't help. It doesn't help in the least. Regardless of what's going on with WGA and SAG, this is only making things and making matters worse. That's just a given fact. Now look, I think that BRIE LARSON does not belong in the film industry. I don't believe that she belongs in any movie by Hollywood. I think that she does a terrible job as an actress in recent years. I mean, she may have done okay work before in the past with like her early stuff. I think that she was okay. She wasn't insufferable in Kong Skull Island by Warner Brothers. And by the way, we talked about that yesterday. They're another studio that dropped her entirely. They blacklisted her or banished her, whatever have you, from ever getting associated with another movie in the future. So keep that in mind. But what's interesting here is how BRIE LARSON is really taking this very personally, because a Captain Marvel sequel and the numerous cameos in the TV shows were going to be the backbone of her career. Now, she has nothing really up and coming besides Fast 11 and 12, which they may also drop her. Besides that, she's got a lot of minor work that she's working on. Not a lot of big stuff, and BRIE LARSON could very well become a ghost of Hollywood in the next year or so. So anyway, guys, I would like to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
Night to moon, we hear them moans again.